So, hi. I have to admit that I was almost too scared to take pictures of Tasha's wedding dress after the night, and I kind of wish I had, because then all of my friends who are going to look at this video to learn about how to wash your wedding dress yourself and not spend all those horrific bills on the dry cleaners. It's not about the money though, because the dry cleaners do a horrible job. And when I got married, my dress came back with the entire hem filthy. And if you pay for that very expensive service where your dress is entombed, then you will never know if they did a good job unless you open it up. So with my own wedding dress 33 years ago, I did have it dry cleaned, and when I picked it up, I was horrified, and I ended up washing the whole thing myself by hand. Plus, this summer, in preparation for Tasha's wedding, I did ask our dry cleaners, and they said that they do wedding dresses by hand. So, did a bunch of research, and the first thing to do was the hem, which I did. And I will show the technique, and then I will describe what I'm doing now, which is just finishing up. And unfortunately, there won't be before and after pictures, but I'll post the video of how to do it, and then I'll also post an after picture of it all dry. The important thing is to do everything by hand. I did the hem with a toothbrush, and it only took one day, coming in the bathtub off and on with it. And the second thing is, when you're finished, you need to rinse it many, many times, and I'm almost to that point. So without further ado, here's the technique that I used for the hem. I took a rag, which it's just, an industrial rag from Home Depot, and I folded it in half twice, and this rag has been used a lot of times, so it's stained, but it's clean. And I took the lace and worked with it both front and back, off and on throughout an entire day. And there it is, setting on the rag. And let's see if I can bring it in a little closer. Okay, and it was jet black. Every time I rinsed the bathtub, the whole bathtub was covered with dirt. And not only that, but it was jet black for a good 4 inches, and then it was a terrible gray for like another 6 or 7 inches. And I took, shockingly enough, Joy dishwashing detergent. I diluted it, and then throughout the whole hem, I would put about ½ inch of water in the bathtub, and then work the hem like this. And by doing this on a rag, you get a little bit of a scrubbing action, extremely gentle on both sides. And when I came across something really dirty, I would stretch it apart with my fingers and use like a circular motion with a little bit of scrub. And as you can see, the hem is pristine. It looks as good to me as it did the day she wore it. And so next, so I let that dry for about a week and a half. I was just busy. There was no particular reason for letting it dry that long. And then today, I worked on the 2 petticoats. These I filled the tub, I plugged the tub. And by the way, you wash your hands before you work on it, and you wash the tub before you work on it. I put about this much water in the bottom of the tub with some dish detergent, and I went around the entire hem of both the regular satin petticoat and the crinoline, and gently did this by hand. Now, that's the satin petticoat, here's the crinoline. The crinoline's it's not very full, it's quite narrow. And this looks like a spot that I may have missed, so I'll hit this. Just could be that it was a stain there to begin with, but I think I can get it out. And again, since this would never show, I sure hope I'm getting this on the camera. There, it's mostly out. I'm using lukewarm water. So this little stain actually looks like ink to me, and I'm going to let it go. It's the only thing I have yet found on the entire dress that I wasn't able to get out. The last part that I worked on, and that was today, was the bodice, okay? And here we are at the bodice. Now Tasha sewed by hand all of these very beautiful Swarovski crystals. So I've been very careful in laying it in the tub not to move it around and let them get scratched or scratch the tub. The way that I did the straps was like this in that soapy water, and then I worked my way all around the bodice with the toothbrush, and all of these areas here were very, very slightly browned. This is the hand stitching that we did to adjust the length and the fit here, and I'm not sure if that will come out, but all of this here was sort of a light brown color, and that brown color has gone, and I did the same technique. I took the diluted dish detergent, and it's amazing how fast it comes out. You probably should do the and I should have, and I'm adding a little bit of time to this now, the whalebone here. And if this just sits on it, it continues to loosen the dirt. So all of that I did with the toothbrush. These two places where we sewed a tiny little facing with just some linen are not, they have a little bit of stain around them, and I don't know, we'll see if I can get that out or not. It really doesn't matter as long as there's no sweat or oils on the gown when you store it. If it's a little bit of stain, it's not going to hurt anything. Okay, so I'm trying to see if I'm a little anxious that I can't see how the video is. Let me see if I can turn it just a little bit more to show the faucet. And go back with the telephoto lens. Okay, that shows a little more. And so here is how I was rinsing, right here under the faucet, with just warm, mildly warm water. Okay, so that covers the three basic areas that need to be cleaned. The first is the hem. And I think getting at the hem is very important first, because you do not want to be submerging the dress in the kind of dirt that the hem gets. I will also point out that when I did the hem, I had the entire dress lifted up and had it hanging from a clothing rack just in front of the bathtub, so that the only part of the dress that was in the bathtub was the hem. Now so that's the first part. The second part is, all around the areas where you sweat, where the fabric lays close to your body, so the bodice, the hips, things like that. And then the third part is going to be rinsing all of this soap out, and I'll check and put this on another video so I can check and make sure this one came out okay. My last thing I would say is don't be afraid.